And welcome back to the channel and back to the island. So the game that we are currently playing is ARK Survival Ascended, which has been remade on Unreal Engine 5, and as you can see it is graphically pretty stunning, as you'd expect, and that means that it's come with a huge graphical update from the original game, which I didn't play actually, so this is my first time playing it. So from what I understand, it was a PC port, a little bit buggy at the start, he says, as some kind of pterodactyl randomly climbs through my house. But I found it to be really, really smooth. So gameplay wise, you spawn into the island with nothing but your tidy whities on to go and then forage, craft, build, tame, all kinds of things. So it's a sandbox, and a fairly big one at that, and so there's lots of different things you can do. Straight on to where we are at the moment, because I've made another couple of videos before this. We have managed to tame ourselves a T-Rex. So I've turned the audio sound off in the background for now. As you can see, I've named him Big Boy because he's a big boy. And what we can do is we can give him commands via a radial wheel here. So this became invaluable because what he did is started off on the shoreline of the island, built myself a little home there, and it's easy to get bogged down in the crafting because I find that really relaxing. So you start out thinking, I'm just going to build myself a basic little home, get myself a simple bed down there, and what that means is that when you die, which you inevitably will, you will respawn at your home, and it also means that you can fast travel. So that's the approach I've taken to the game, is to try and get a little bit further onto the island and build some kind of base with storage. So as you can see, as I did with my first one, I started out thinking I'd keep it simple and got carried away again. So we have got storage based around our home here. We can also put a sign up here, which I think makes it appear on the map because my sense of direction is terrible. And so via the simple beds here, we can fast travel to different locations around the map. What I found is that even on the kind of easy mode, for want of a better phrase, if you try and get across the island very quickly, things very quickly turn nasty, and there'll be lots and lots of big dinosaurs just waiting to chomp away at you. So you can see here, I've been working on a house to get some storage. There's an upper floor here with some nice railings to admire the beautiful view there. And I chose a little spot further down the river where, as you can see, well, there were some diplodocuses in the background, but there was some other dinosaurs that basically attacked them. So the good thing about the T-Rex, you can tame other animals. Obviously, the bigger they are, the harder they are to tame. And the mechanic there for the smaller animals is to tame them via feeding them. For the bigger ones, you do have to basically club them unconscious and then give them the kind of food that is required to tame them. So for T-Rex, that was a lot of prime meat, and he is now my protector. So the only thing I would say at the moment is that in order to be able to craft a saddle to then ride a T-Rex, I do need to be level 75, and I think I'm currently 15, so there's a way to go there. But he will protect us. So the radial menu, if somebody comes over and attacks where we are at the moment, then he will jump straight in and chomp them to death. If I'm attacking someone, I can use the radial menu to basically get him involved in the skirmish. So what I tend to do is use the radial wheel to say stay here, otherwise they will follow you around the whole island, and your bases do take damage as well. So crafting wise, we go around, we pick things up from the environment. That's going to fall into a couple of different categories. So we have the fibres, which can pick up from plants, and that will also mean that we can harvest some fruits and whatnot to keep us well fed. We can harvest wood from trees via our axe. and we can assign that to a quick menu down there at the bottom. We can harvest flint and rock from the various rocks around the island, and probably the most commonly used one are the palm leaves here, which are used to make thatch. So those are our core kind of crafting ingredients. We've then got our kind of hunger and thirst management. So over on the bottom right of the screen there, we've got a couple of icons. We've got our inventory and the weight there up at the top. We have water, food, stamina, and then health. So you probably also see pop up on the screen that there's also a couple of different things. So if you're out in the sun for too long, you'll get hot and need to cool down. If you're in the cold for too long, you will need to heat up. Food wise, you can eat raw berries, and as with most games, that won't really feed your appetite too much, so you will need a fire, which we have. I think I left it out here. So you can harvest meat and hide from the different animals around the island, and then you can cook them on the fireplace, which will mean that the meat doesn't spoil. Things that you collect in your inventory, a good case in point here, you can see that I had some raw meat which I didn't cook, and so that means I need to drop it like so. You can also, there's lots and lots of different crafting and inventory items. So you start out being able to craft the more simplistic things, and you can refine them with a forge and mortar and pestle. And over here we've got some kind of storage bins, which means that the food degrades a little bit slower. So you can see there I've got quite a bit stored up there because we also, any animals that we train, is that the right word? Tame even. Any animals will also need to manage their inventory so that they remain well fed. So if we pop over to Big Boy here and have a look in the inventory, then you can see there's an awful lot of meat there. We'll get rid of that stuff. We'll get rid of the rotten stuff. And also, interestingly, so once you've leveled up and you can tame some of the bigger dinosaurs or take on the bigger ones, what I've found is that it seems to be that within their inventory of the ones that are, I struggle to use a word other than killed, there tends to be some inventory items in there which kind of indicates that they've ate somebody else. And what I mean by that is that I'm currently playing a single player campaign. So you can play this on various different hosted official servers. There are servers with mods. The game's been out for a while, so there's a lot of mods available on there, which I've not really delved into at all because there's plenty enough to keep me occupied just with the core game here. So I'd started out, as I say, on easier settings. So within the management tools, there are various sliders so you can determine how much materials you get from harvesting, how much damage you deal, how much damage you take, and how quickly food and drink and things like that deplete. So you really can tailor this to exactly what you want. So the first playthrough that I did, I wanted to become familiar with the mechanics. So there's not really a kind of walkthrough per se. You kind of chucked onto the island with nothing much at all. There'll be a couple of on-screen prompts just to get you to your first levels. And then as you go through, you'll be rewarded with skill points down here, which you can invest into those different attributes there. So we've got health, stamina, oxygen, which is for swimming underwater, food depletion, water depletion. The weight is how much we can carry. So I've put quite a bit into that so that the inventory didn't get too full too quickly. I'm going to start putting some into crafting skill, I think, just to make that a little bit quicker, which we're going to do right now. Actually, melee damage, put that into crafting skill. And then we've also got what they call engrams, which are essentially blueprints. So what we need to be able to do is use points to unlock these different blueprints. So as you can see, the ones that are kind of greyed out are the ones that I've not unlocked yet. And It's quite extensive, so I've been playing for a while. Because it's a slightly easier setting, that means that I get the points a little bit quicker. So as you can see there, we've got 2,640 points available, which should mean that we can unlock pretty much everything. What I've tended to do is to just unlock the stuff I need, because what that means is when we come to the crafting menu, which I will show you, it means that we're not scrolling through 300 pages of different things that we can craft. That being said, there is a search option, so you can narrow that right down. So early on in game, you will get the basic unlockables. You get kind of these cloth bits of clothing, the ability to craft a torch, a pickaxe, an axe, and a simple spear. And then that kind of progresses as you go through the game. Your building blocks are initially thatch, which enables you to build foundations, walls, some roofing, and then it kind of expands. You can see down there I have unlocked the ability to build a fire, but that actually requires a lot of material. So that one, we require flint, thatch, stone and wood. So actually I could probably do that. I think when I played the other one, it needed some kind of cementing paste, which was made with the mortar and pestle, and it needed a lot of raw ingredients to be able to craft it. So that really sums it up, is that there's a lot of different options. You can either have this as a more true to life and demanding game where you kind of fighting to stay alive. You could turn it into almost the equivalent of a cozy simulator where dinosaurs won't do that much damage. I'm not sure that you can change the taming skills or the levels, the amount it takes to tame the animals, but you could scale that right up to kind of inviting people either into your tribe or onto dedicated servers to basically have time to craft things. It could really go into full-scale dino wars. So as well as saddles, I think later on as you level up you can get dinosaur armor and lances and all kinds of things. So I've not really dug around too much onto those other servers. I expect there are many interesting bases and things that people have done to craft and upgrade. And so what I'm going to do here, now that I've got my friend T-Rex there, it allows me to go exploring a little bit further. So ahead of us there where I'm looking, I did kind of just go off, and you can probably see actually that what will happen is when you die, it will show you where your last death was, so you can go back and recover some of your lost items there. There's nothing too valuable in there that I haven't already taken. But I had gone off to explore just the size of the map, and I'll give you an idea of that. So if we go over to the mini-map icon here, I've zoomed in. That is how much I have explored of the map in probably what is, I would say, probably 20 plus hours of gameplay. So as I said, that has involved basically focusing on the crafting. I wanted to get an idea of what was possible, and as you can see, my bases have become more and more elaborate as I've gone through. And so I found it a really enjoyable game. I'm going to invest some more time into it, potentially do some more videos. If you have any hints or tips that you could pass on to me, they would be gratefully received. And alternatively, if there's anything that you'd like to know about the game that I can help with, then do just pop that down into the comments. A thumbs up lets me know that people are watching the videos and helps it reach a wider audience, and of course those precious subscriptions. So as with everything, it takes time to build these things up. So I'm not a professional YouTuber, nor am I paying to move further up the algorithms or anything like that. All I'm doing is recording gameplay directly from the PS5 and a bit of audio at the time, so I don't have to spend a lot of time editing afterwards. So what I'll do in future videos, now that I've done a couple of kind of broad overviews of the game, is perhaps just do some where I do a live playthrough, or certainly capture some of my playthrough without talking over it the complete time, so that we can kind of, maybe I'll just talk about some of the crafting stuff, then go and explore a bit of the island and just go through some of the mechanics, or just have a video where it's just on in the background. So I do enjoy that as well. There's various different types of YouTube content. Sometimes that's just kind of live playthroughs where people just go about it and it's on in the background. So if you've got any suggestions, again, do pop those down there and I will see what I can do. And in the meantime, I am going to finish off my base. So we need to do a bit of work upstairs to finish this off. And what I've done is I have stored my stuff in these storage crates. So to try and be organized is to get some food in one particular crate, crafting materials in another, so that I can then craft and just attack things in one go. And as you can see here, in the particular area that I'd chosen, it's quite well populated with different animals, so I'd quite like to tame some of the other ones as well. And I'll just finish the video by passing on my two kind of top tips. Is craft a simple bed as soon as you can. As I say, that means that when you die, you can respawn it to your base and not just a random spot on the island. And it also means that you can fast travel, so you can kind of make the most of the whole map and do fast travel amongst that. I've forgotten what my second top tip was. A little pause there. So what was it? It'll come back to me. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed the video and I will see you in future ones.